The buzz at the Dorian TV Awards was electric, the atmosphere dripping with prestige and carefully curated glamour. Among the invited presenters and guests was Prince Harry, in attendance not just as a former royal, but as a celebrated producer tied to several socially impactful documentary projects. Clad in a sleek black suit with minimal fanfare, Harry arrived poised, ready to present an award for Best Unscripted Series. But backstage, tensions were already simmering. According to multiple sources close to production, Harry's team had requested that he be formally introduced as Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, when taking the stage. The show's producers famed for pushing boundaries and rejecting titles they deemed symbolic of outdated hierarchies, allegedly declined. Opting instead for a stripped-down introduction, Harry Windsor, activist and producer, *when Harry learned of the change just minutes before going live, he reportedly pushed back, calmly at first, then with increasing frustration. "I'm here as myself. Yes, but my title isn't just a vanity tag," he was overheard saying. "It's part of the identity I carried into all the work I do now." Producers stood firm. As the countdown to his stage cue hit 0, Harry made a last-minute decision. Instead of stepping out to present, he turned, handed his envelope to a nearby assistant, and walked out of the venue, entirely leaving stunned staff scrambling to fill the gap on live television. Within minutes, the headlines exploded. Prince Harry storms out of Dorian TV Awards. The fallout from Prince Harry's abrupt exit from the Dorian TV Awards was immediate and intense. Social media platforms ignited with debate, with hashtags like #PrinceHarryWalkout, #NotJustHarry, and #RoyalRespect dominating the trending lists across X, formerly Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Supporters of the prince defended his decision, fiercely arguing that while he may have stepped back from royal duties, his title was still part of his global identity and charitable legacy. "He's not clinging to a title, he's honoring the work tied to it," one viral post read. Others, however, criticized the move as ego-driven, accusing him of expecting special treatment at an event known for its rebellious, anti-establishment tone. The Dorian Awards committee issued a carefully worded statement the next morning. "We celebrate artistry over aristocracy. While we regret the disruption, our values are rooted in treating all contributors equally regardless of title." The response only deepened the divide. Prominent voices in British and American media chimed in, with some commentators applauding the Dorian team for standing their ground, while others accused them of intentionally provoking a reaction for clout. Meanwhile, Harry remained silent. But a source close to his camp told The Guardian that he found the last-minute change disrespectful and unnecessary, especially considering the context. He was there to honor underrepresented voices in media, not to demand royal protocol. Still, Harry's team didn't launch a counterattack. Instead, within 48 hours, they quietly released a short clip from one of his upcoming documentaries focusing on military veterans. No mention of the walk-off. No statement, just a reminder of what he actually shows up to support. And yet, by not responding directly, Harry may have made a louder statement than any press release ever could. He walked away rather than compromise on the symbol that, to him, still anchors a lifetime of service, identity, and global impact. As the media storm surrounding Prince Harry's walk-off intensified, deeper conversations emerged around identity, legacy, and the complicated dynamics of post-royal life. Major outlets like The Atlantic, Vanity Fair, and The Times ran think pieces dissecting whether Harry's insistence on being referred to as Prince was a contradiction of his desire to step back from royal duties or a reasonable assertion of his lifelong identity. When op-ed asked, if Harry had abandoned the title completely, would the world still listen to his advocacy with the same weight? Another defended his position. "You can't expect someone born into monarchy to sever that identity just because it makes modern rooms uncomfortable." For Harry, the title isn't entitlement, it's context. Meanwhile, polling in the UK and US revealed a surprising split. While British respondents were more skeptical, American audiences leaned overwhelmingly in support of Harry's reaction. Viewing it as a dignified, boundary-setting moment, back in Montecito, Prince Harry reportedly turned his focus inward. He kept his public calendar clear for several weeks and instead doubled down on his work with Arkawell, his foundation with Meghan Markle. The couple quietly announced new grants for mental health organizations, and a documentary spotlighting displaced veterans premiered to critical acclaim on a major streaming platform, receiving far more attention, ironically, due to the recent award show controversy. In a rare interview weeks later, Harry was asked gently if he regretted walking out. His answer was direct. "I'll never regret standing up for how I've carried myself across continents, conflicts, and causes. If I walked out, it was because someone tried to walk over that. The audience applauded not because he'd been defiant, but because he'd been deliberate." The Dorian TV Awards, for their part, didn't backpedal. At the following year's event, they leaned further into their anti-establishment brand, making subtle jabs at royal drama in their opening monologue. But the moment with Harry still loomed large, not as months after Prince Harry's high-profile walkout from the Dorian TV Awards. The dust had settled, but the impact remained. The moment had transcended gossip and evolved into a symbol of deeper conversations about public image, personal identity, and the fine line between reinvention and erasure. Analysts dubbed it the Harry Principle, the idea that even as one steps away from inherited institutions, certain aspects of identity remain non-negotiable. At conferences, panels, and even journalism classrooms, the incident was dissected not for its drama, but for its symbolism. It wasn't about ego, one cultural critic wrote. It was about being allowed to carry every chapter of your story into new rooms, even when the room wants to pretend those chapters don't exist. Harry, meanwhile, didn't use the moment to reignite royal debates. Instead, he let his work speak louder. His upcoming memoir's revised paperback edition included a new foreword that didn't reference the awards walk-off directly, but it did mention the quiet power of knowing when to leave, rather than stay and explain. That line alone was quoted across media and social platforms, interpreted by many as a subtle nod to the incident. He and Meghan continued their philanthropic work at full force, launching a mental health initiative in schools and partnering with international NGOs for veteran support. And everywhere he appeared, publicly, conferences, interviews, advocacy forums, hosts introduced him as Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex. The controversy had, ironically, cemented the title he once feared would always define him as something people now used with respect, not obligation. For the Dorian Awards, the moment became part of their mythos. The following year, host banter alluded to the night a Windsor walked out, garnering laughs, but also side-eyes. Some called it clever branding. Others said it revealed how thin the line between rebellion and rigidity can be. But the public, by and large, had moved on. They saw Harry not as someone clinging to royalty, but as someone defending the right to bring his full self into spaces that only wanted fragments. And in the end, that's what lingered. Not the storming off, but the quiet, deliberate decision to walk away when the room no longer honored the weight of who he truly was. *******.